Hello, everybody. I guess we're just doing it this way. There we go. Hey there, Ella. Glad to see you. Well, here we are. Today is the first episode of Goodnight. In this series, we're going to explore some sleep options that are generally a little more natural, maybe a little more comfortable, a little less either chemical or medicated or any of those things. Because most of the time, people just want to get to sleep, and that's what this is for. So, if you just want to lie back, take it easy, either relax or just get put to sleep, then settle on down. Lay your head on that pillow, nice and easy. And for about an hour, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, let me help you. Have a good night. We think about all kinds of things when we want to go to sleep. We think about the gentleness of our bed, the softness of our pillow, the warmth underneath the blankets. Just imagine for a moment that you're safe and snug and comfortable right in your bed, just in that safe place where nothing can really get to you, and you're completely free from your day's stress, the hard work that you've done, all the little stuff that you had to do, chores or work, or maybe even just the sensations and feelings that you dealt with all day long. Now is the time to let those feelings go to rest. All you need to do is imagine yourself walking slowly and gently down the sandy beach. The beach is warm this time of year. There's a cool breeze coming in. The breeze is soft, calming. You know that throughout your day, all the little things you had to do, All those little troubles that you had. Every little thing that you dealt with. The good and the bad. The ugly. They're not here with you at the beach. On the beach, it's just you and the sand and the waves and the sunset. Nothing's expected of you. Nothing is questioned or put to the test or examined. It's just your feet touching the grains, the little tiny inklings of that pink sand that reflects the sunset and twinkles. It's a small little thing, but it feels enormous to have that much freedom to keep walking or to stop. You can do whichever you'd like. You don't really need to decide just yet. But what you do need is to just take a moment, any moment that you'd like. A moment where you're apart and vagrant from the thoughts of your day. A nomad to the events of your past. Traveling from thought to thought. You may think about something good that happened or something bad. You may think about how much sleep you'd like to have, how tired you are, or maybe just how much you'd like to spend just a little bit longer under the covers. But right now, we're just walking. Nothing needed, nothing wanted. Just walking. Our footsteps are behind us. Think about how far we've come, how many footsteps are behind us, how long our trail is. Doesn't it seem awfully proud to be this far, this free, this away from all those troubles, away from all those little issues, away from all those little worries, just on the beach, nice and warm and cool and free. Hey Kai, how's it going? When you're on this beach with the nice pink sand, when you're just standing here or just walking, you don't really have to worry too much, because the beach is not going anywhere, but you are. You're going places, going into the future, going into a great night's sleep, a great dream, a wonderful sensation of half sleep, of relaxation. Regardless of where you go, it doesn't really matter what the destination is. What matters more is how you're getting there. All you need right now is just a few soft steps on that nice, granular sand. The sand isn't going to judge you. I mean, it's just there. The waves aren't going to expect anything from you. They're just there too. Nature has no need to ask anything from you. It has everything it desires. And so you can lean on it just a little bit. just a touch. Lean into that sand. Lean onto an errant rock that might be cropping out of the beach. And when the waves start pushing themselves up further and further, take notice of how close they are. Take notice of how much you might want to get in the water. You know, how much it might feel like a refreshing reprieve, an asylum from all those thoughts that you have. Think about that. Wouldn't it be nice just to stick a toe in, maybe a foot, maybe just dive in for a little while? But you expect the water to be, if not frigid, then at least cold. But you're curious, aren't you? Curious about how cold, how frigid. Curious about what it might do. Maybe it'll give you goosebumps. Maybe it'll awaken some feelings of the past. Maybe it'll keep you awake, but maybe it'll help you realize just how sleepy you are. In this place, where it's safe, where you can't be hurt, and where for just a little while you can dip a toe into that water and nothing bad will happen. And so maybe you sit down, maybe you take this moment, this precious, calm moment. You lean over, kneel, bend your knees, and sit down on your tuchus. And put your hands all around you. Dig in deep. Put your fingers into the sand. It's like salt from the Himalayas. It's so fine. It's not coarse or hardy or rough. It's like sugar. Tiny little crystals. Each of them thanking you for giving them attention. Each of them hugging on, letting you know that they're grateful. Grateful for your hand, for your notice. And you're welcomed. And you feel almost like something else wants to welcome you too. The water getting closer and closer to your feet. The sun lazily drooping down. The miraculous, awe-inspiring, and maybe even a little sexy sunset. In the background, it's just lowering slowly, waiting for you to feel like you're ready. And in these moments where you are getting ready, where you're just taking the time of day to breathe in, just a nice little breath, and breathe out. Because this time is for you. It's not for me, I'm just here for you, but this time, it's yours for the taking, for the advantage, or for the exploit, if that's what you'd like. So just take that time. Feel the sand underneath your fingernails, getting caught in the little tiny folds of your hand and knuckles. Clinging on. Everybody loves a good cling on now and again. I've always been a Galron fan, but you know. The sand is so inviting. it makes you wonder if the water will be just as welcoming. So maybe you scoot forward a little bit to meet the water halfway. Maybe you take that little tiny close dip towards the water, and it gets closer as well. It's expectant. For the first time during your dream, it expects you to come and relax. It might be a big expectation, but maybe it's a welcome one. Maybe you're welcome to have this expectation of yourself to relax. Maybe that's okay. And maybe you can just get there if you take a few soft breaths. Take a few little moments for yourself. Take it easy. And focus on how close the water is as it gets closer and closer, inviting you more and more until finally it makes contact, but it surprises you. Maybe you're even a little shocked because the water isn't cold like you expect. In fact, it's warm. It's as warm as a jacuzzi. This beach is miraculous in its own way because the water is there and it's ready to receive you. You might wonder, am I wearing a swimsuit? That's a good question. What are you wearing? When you go to the beach, you think about bathing suits, swimsuits. You think about what you wouldn't wear, maybe a suit and tie, maybe something for a wedding. But what about the things that you bring with you? You've brought something to this beach already. You've brought your day's stresses, your day's fears and worries and anxieties. But those things can't follow you into the ocean. Because in the ocean, you're floating. And those things would just weigh you down. So why don't you take those things off, whether they're clothes, whether they're accessories, bags, backpacks. Take a moment, think about what they are, and imagine just shedding them, just pulling them off, laying them down in the pink sand. Feel how much more free you are, how much more weightless you feel, how unburdened it can be. Just how far you can go if you just give yourself some time free of that weight. If you just did that, just for a little bit, just for maybe a little while longer, then maybe you might just start to feel better. So you take those things and you place them by you on the sand, and they weigh a lot, because they always weigh something. And maybe you're not wearing anything anymore. Maybe you've still got your swimsuit on, but the things that you've dropped are laying in the beach beside you. But whatever you've given up, whatever you've given away for the moment, just know that it hasn't gone forever. It's waiting for you, so you can hold it again, think about it again, and come back to it later. But for right now, just for a little while, those things are gone. And so with that weightlessness, that freedom, you can take a step forward. Just a little step, a little wiggle, walking your butt, walking your hands, walking your feet, almost like a crab, until finally the water runs and splashes and breaks on the bottoms of your feet, the pads getting soaked. But the water is just it's almost hot. But when it hits you, you realize just how much you might miss a hot bath. Seeing the steam rise, the fluctuations in the air, feeling that surrounded comfort, that surrounded warmth, feeling like it's so okay to just let go, to just be safe, to just be free, just be you. Nobody expects, maybe besides the water, expecting you to come join it, come be free. But nobody else expects anything from you. Because those expectations, they're on the beach. And you're closer to the water than you are to the beach. Because the waves come to meet you again, but you've been pulled a little bit by the sand retreating. Pulled just a little bit further, closer to the water. And maybe you've moved closer too. Maybe you've given yourself that time, finally. Maybe you've changed just that much that you're willing to let the water a little bit closer. And when it goes up your legs, when it hits your inner thigh, and when it goes under your butt, you feel that new life, that new wonder, like a child almost. Because it leaves the warmth on your skin, and it pulls you in just a little bit more. And maybe you lie back. Maybe you give yourself away a little bit. And maybe you realize that that's okay. Because giving yourself away to a moment, a single moment, can be a great thing. Maybe it can be the best thing. And so when you're lying there, the water comes back to meet you again. Because it always does. It waxes and wanes, but it always comes back. And when it does, when the water comes to meet you once again, this time it's an old friend, a compatriot, a brother or a sister, or maybe something in between. You welcome it, just as it welcomes you. It spreads. The wave is like silk, twisting and moving, curling, fitting around you. And the water, it sweeps across you, leaving you basking, luxuriating in what it leaves behind. And it leaves behind so much. Maybe a bit of moss on your arm, maybe a little bit of seaweed on your toes. It does welcome you. And when you're pulled just a little bit more, your toes start touching the water's edge. The small waves now lapping at you. Even the tiniest ones. The shyest, most introverted wave you can think of. Giving you a little hello, little kiss, little hug. And when the tide hides again, when it becomes high once more, when it pulls back, folds over and lands on your knees, splashing up against you. It goes up, up, almost to your chin, lifting you ever so gently closer. It's so peaceful, so serendipitous, so serene. The water's moving you towards the ocean, but only at whatever pace you're ready for. Not too fast, but not too slow. But you feel it, you're connecting with it. You're becoming one with it. It's accepting you, not taking you for granted, not presuming or assuming. It's just rolling over you and carrying you away from those problems on the beach, away from the beautiful pink sand, into the growing blue, green, reefy shallows. They glow as the sun sets completely, as we're lifted up, making contact with the secondary and tertiary parts of the waves, being pulled and then moved forward, back onto the beach, the halfway point, the interstice, back and forth, carried, flattened, and then pulled again, going out deeper and deeper each time. The tide carrying us out until we're surrounded and floating on our backs into the deep blue sea. But that's when we start to notice the fish. The fish that are swimming just under the surface, bumping up against us. Memories, inklings, ideas and thoughts, feelings through our day, reminding us that we're still here, just a little more soothed, a little more sedate, a little more calm, while we are carried away, out there, past the reefs, steady like a ship or a raft, in the jacuzzi water, the hot tub, where time is a bit irrelevant, isn't it? Space becomes a bit irrelevant. We become irrelevant. All that matters is this time floating in the shallows of the sea, away, already so far away from the problems, from the worries and the anxieties and fears, surrounded by that love and that care and attention, and given everything we might need. All the warmth we can ask for, all the love, all the care, the safety, until it's just us. Us and nature. We waft back and forth. Maybe we spin slowly. Maybe we drift up and down, side to side. The steady motion of the ocean, carrying us out to sea. I want you to remember, right now, remember that how far out are we? Remember that we're deep in the ocean. Past the shallows, past the reefs. And then forget and don't care. Don't think. Let the ocean do the thinking for you. You just look up at the orange, pink, red sky. The orange and pink fade. The blue takes over. And the moon and the stars begin to have their time above us. The planetarium effect. The engrossing nature of the stars, the galaxy. It's at our fingertips. It's almost like we could reach out and touch it. It reflects on us, on the water. The water calms, smooths, so tender and fragile, even a breath could send a ripple. I want you to think about something beautiful in your life, something great. Maybe it's the smile of a loved one. Maybe it's the sound of brewing coffee, or the sound of motion in your house nearby you. Something small. And when you're out in the sea, out in the ocean, just a single thing plucked from that Garden of Eden, from those lifetime of good experiences, of wholesome energy, of good vibes. It makes you become enveloped in the water, up to the head, but you can still breathe just fine. In fact, it's so fine that you even forget the water could even hurt you. Forget that anything could hurt you. And you start to think about that great thought. Think about where it takes you, what you remember. And think about under the ocean as your eyes dip beneath the surface. The bubbles slip out from underneath you. You're pulled into a thought, a feeling, something that transgresses time. And that time, the time spent thinking about anything, about food, about sleep, about hunger, that's all for the world above you. But under the water, beneath the surface, swimming next to the fishes that come and say hello, swimming across great landscapes. Surrounded by that warm water. Traveling where the current takes you. Not worrying about what might happen next or where you might go. Instead, worrying about how warm it is. My next breath. Worrying about who I am. Worrying about forgetting even that. Forgetting what your name is, forgetting what everything is, just for this moment being carried away someplace far, far from everything else. And while you're carried here, your breath flows on its own under the water, having this vista before you. The colors of reefs, sea sponges, starfish, clownfish, bass, groupers, rock formations. You can even take in the smells through your nose. The smells of the sea and underneath the surface where everything is better, with that water flowing through your hair, flowing through your clothes, whatever's left of them. It's just a memory you've given control over just for a little while, so that the current can lead you to your next place, that place of calmness, coolness, snuggled up nice and tight, cuddled and nuzzled by the water. So deep, so far away. The expanse of the sea, the beautiful underwater colors, fish swimming by, waving a fin to say hi, an octopus watching you from the distance, its careful, clever eyes making sure that you're not a threat, making sure that you're copacetic. An angelfish marches by and looks you in the eye, making sure that you're nice and chill, making sure that you're nice and cooled off. You're deep under the water in this place. This tiny little place. You're whole. You breathe in the water. The oxygen flows through it. It flows steady. The music of the night sky, the reflecting moonlight, the beams of God rays. It reflects on all of them: fish, the scales, the reef. It leaves you wanting more. And there is so much more to get in that memory of a beautiful time. A memory of when you were more simple, more free. Follow that memory, follow the current, and see where it takes you. It takes you here and there, over bends, under nooks and crannies, through rocks, between archways, and it even shows you something you didn't know that you still had. It's a gentle, gentle thing, but the memory is with you, always. like a first love, a first kiss, a first dance, a first hug, or a first cuddle. It's with you always, so that you are never alone in the ocean. All of your fish friends, the water, the memories, the delights to the senses long forgotten, now embraced again as if they're new. So deep in the ocean, so safe, so welcomed. I want you to imagine for just a moment that somebody, someone that you know and cherish and care for, is floating beside you. They may be real or fictitious. They may be here or gone. They may even be right next to you right now. But they're there beside you at their best while you're at your best. And you take their hand and follow the current a little longer, a little deeper. The seaweed and the kelp, a forest, green. A dolphin swims by, winking at you, letting you know that it's got your back. The kelp forest being brushed aside by an eel, just checking you out, making sure everything's all right. It's such a safe place. You and your partner, wherever they are. And on your left side, imagine another person floating beside you, your companion for this trip. They say 3 is company, but sometimes 3 is just right. You and your 2 friends, and your friends in the sea, float along, slipping through the water, jetting now and again past awesome views. Schools of fish trailing by, following you, following the excitement. You feel the sun rising across the distance, just a little bit. You feel the warmth increase. You feel yourself become even lighter, even more buoyant. You're taken by underwater cliff sides. Canyons. Delicate ecosystems. Ancient rock formations. And when you place your hand in the pink sand under the water, it spreads. It makes a cloud behind you as you trail through it. So far out in the ocean, just you and your friends. This moment is all about you, though. A moment that is almost perfect, isn't it? Almost perfect. You hear the current bringing you somewhere new. Twists and turns, tiny tongues of water letting you know how real it is, how far you've come, reassuring you you're so much further than you used to be, so much calmer, graceful. Your potential is much closer to being met than before. The people around you, they see it. Some of them are jealous, some of them are envious, but the ones that you care about, that really matter, they're right there beside you, supporting you every step of the way. Those same people that have been beside you through so much. They're right there. Waiting for you to take the next little float so they can follow your lead. And the schools of fish that follow you, the fans that you have, the people who are looking to see what happens next, in awe, in inspiration to you, their muse. The memory carries you even further, so far that land is just an idea that you forgot about long ago. The comforts of the sea at your command. Everything you could want, waiting for you to take it. And you can't help but feel grateful, can you? Grateful for how much you've been given, for how much you've received. And that gratitude goes a long way. You swim so far. You gracefully travel so long that you go all the way through the ocean. But somewhere along the way, you realize you're heading back. Heading back to where you came from. Getting ready to get back to yourself, get back to your body, get back to where you were before, floating there in the ocean. And so you swoop around. You say goodbye to your friends. You kiss the fish, give them that goodbye kiss, and wave to the octopus. And you swim up to where you are, floating atop the waves. And you open your eyes. You see overhead the sun is rising. Slowly in the distance, the beach is coming back into view. You're going home. Home to the pink sand. Home to where you came from and where your day, your dreams, your thoughts are waiting for you. And so everything that you left behind, you can go back and grab whenever you'd like to. But if you're not ready, if you'd like to stay in the ocean a little bit longer, you can go ahead and do that. And there's not going to be anybody who will say otherwise. And if you've already fallen asleep, if you're already laying in bed, body relaxed, eyes closed, dreams coming fast or slow, you know that you can just stretch, breathe, warm up, or cool off. And remember the ocean waves. Remember where you've been. And when you finally wash up on the beach, when you finally reach the beach, covered in that warm, warm water, covered in those good memories and good vibes. Whenever you want to get ready again to go back at it, back to work, back to your day, or maybe you're laying in bed relaxed, eyes closed. Maybe you're fast asleep. Your stuff is right there, waiting for you. So go ahead and get it whenever you're ready. And to all of you out there who have been enjoying this, awake or asleep, thanks for being here for our first time. This has been great, and I hope that all of you will come join me again next Tuesday. Until then,